Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to propagate this house plant. It goes by the name of Pothos, commonly known as devil's ivy. Sometimes they call them variegated philodendron. The botanical name, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this, but it's Epipremnum, aureum. So I never go by botanical names because they're way too hard to pronounce. So I basically call it a philodendron. But you can go by any one of those names. So this house plant is amazing. This one that you're looking at right here is over 15 years old, and I've been taking cuttings from this for 15 years. Just to give you a little idea. All of these are from that one plant. Right there. So I'll get it set up and I'll give you a little bit more explanation on how you do it, and you can very easily do this at home. So I'll be right back. You're back. So some of the things you're going to need is some type of pot. This is just a little plastic pot that I got somewhere, who knows. I'm going to be making a very small one today. You could definitely get as big a size as you want, right? Some type of little rest that the cup could sit in, your pot could sit in to catch any excess water that comes out. And you're going to need to fill the holes. When I say fill the holes, you could put some pebbles that are a little bit bigger than the holes, fill the bottom, and put your soil on top of that. A little tip that I have and trick is I cut a little piece of landscaping cloth, okay? And just a little bit bigger than the bottom. And I stick it in the bottom. Make sure it's covering the holes. Then just get any type of good potting soil. And believe it or not, in a pinch, you can just use regular old soil from your garden. These grow well in pretty much everything. A few side notes, these are poisonous. Not to the point that it would kill you. Obviously, as an adult, you wouldn't be eating the leaves, but just be aware if you have children around, it could make them very, very sick. Cats and dogs also, so be aware of that. So you're going to want to fill this up. What I like to do is tap it down. Make sure you get any air gaps out of there. And I never fill it all the way to the top. Okay, this leaves room for watering. My preferred method of watering is to get a bowl, probably around yo big, and fill that with water, and then place the whole plant into that, and then it'll absorb from the bottom, and the capillary action will draw it up to the top. And once you see the top moist, you can take it out of that, set it aside, let it drain back down again, and you know that the entire thing is wet. Okay, the next thing I like to do is, let's clean this off. So I like to water it now. Okay, so we'll place a little water in here. We're going to let that soak in. If you have a good potting soil, good drainage, it's going to happen fast. As you can see, it's already coming out the bottom. Okay, at this point, I like to tap it down again. You'll see the water still coming out. Now, after a few times, that'll stop and you won't see any soil coming out. As you can see, the height actually went down because it's compacting. Again, you don't want to do that too much, but this is a very loose mix of soil. It has a lot of peat moss in it. It's a good gardening mix. Look at all that water that's coming out of there. Okay, so we'll put this back on our base. Get rid of this. And we'll go on to the next step. You're going to want to get yourself some rooting powder, okay? You can pretty much pick this up in any home center, garden center. If you don't want to use this, you could actually take a cutting and you could put it into a jelly jar, a glass jar. You could put water in it and it'll actually grow in the water, okay? If you're going to transplant it into a pot, you'll want to leave it in the water for about a month, okay? When you start seeing the roots come out, you're going to want to take it out of the water and you want to transplant it into your soil. What you would do is you would take the rooted piece, hold it over, fill the soil all around it, and then continue on with this process that I just did here, and you'll be good. Just a side note, if you do it in the water and you leave it in the water for months and months and months, and you have a big mass of roots, it doesn't tend to like to go into soil at that point. It does much better if you take it out as soon as the roots start to emerge versus having a big ball of roots, because it'll fill up your jar with roots. It's a pretty cool effect. So we're going to use the rooting powder. We're going to take our plant and we're going to cut from a 4 to 6 inch piece. Just have yourself a little cutters. You could use scissors, okay? And what you're going to want to do is snip off a piece. For this one, we're going to put 2 in. Get another little piece right here. Let's see. That looks good. We'll cut this right here. Okay, so now we have our cuttings. Let me get in a little closer so I can show you what I'm doing. What you're going to want to do is right here, you see these little nodes? Those are where roots are going to come out. Now, if this was growing and those little nodes were touching soil, they would actually grow down into the soil and you'll have a root on it. The root will go in there. Okay, so you're going to want to cut off the bottom leaf so you have a node there, and I'm going to cut off this leaf. It's suggested that you have at least 3 or 4 leaves on, but I find that this stuff really just grows, so I'm going to leave 2 little nodes, one there and one there, and you're going to get yourself your rooting powder. Get a little glass of water, dip it in, and then just shake it off. Now have yourself a little skewer like this. Figure out where you want it. Press it in. Get yourself a little hole started. You got to take this. You got to press it in, making sure to cover those 2 nodes and firm it up. And we'll do the same thing with this side. You cut this little bend off there. As you can see, these are much more pronounced than that one was. Do the same thing. Get your rooting powder on, shake off the excess. Make a hole. Press that in. And there you have it. Let me clean this up and I'll be right back. So here's what it looks like. I wouldn't recommend putting more than 2 or 3 into a little container this size. And as far as the care goes, you don't want to have this in direct sunlight. You want to have bright light, but not direct sunlight. Direct sunlight kind of messes them up. They get a weird yellowish color, and a lot of the leaves will die and will have a lot of stems. These will grow great in your house. They're great at purifying the air. They will get big and they will fall over and cascade. You could train them onto a trellis. They won't grab onto the trellis and grow, but you could weave them in and out. I've had these growing, coming out of the pot, going up the wall, around the window. They'll grow 40 feet long. You know, if you live in the southern zone, you know, way down like lower Georgia and Florida, these can be grown outside. Again, not in direct sunlight, but they'll do very, very well. They'll do good in your bathroom. They like humidity. As far as watering them, they're very, very, very drought tolerant. You could wait until the soil is dry as a bone, and then you could water it, and it'll last a while. What I normally do is once it's fully saturated with water, excuse me, I'll feel this, so I kind of get the idea of the weight of it. And then, you know, every once in a while, a week or two, whatever, depending on, you know, the humidity content in your home, I'll just lift it up. When it feels feather light again, it's like, oh, that needs water, and I'll put water in it. Again, this is a very, very hardy plant. Another note, if it doesn't get enough light, this variegation that's in here, this, you see this yellowish color, that'll kind of disappear. And they'll pretty much turn like a solid green, because the green parts are how it does its photosynthesis to make its food. As you can see, this one is mostly green here. So this plant here, this cutting from this side, was taken from a part that had more sun than this side did. So that's just another thing to be aware of. But, you know, a good southern facing window, and you can just watch it. If it starts to get too yellow, you know, then you maybe might be too bright. But it's a perfect house plant. It's very, very tolerant of conditions, and I really love it. So there you go. That's how I do stuff. If you like this video, please give me a like and subscribe to my channel. If there's something you'd like me to show you how to do, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.